called Noah things that are so disgusting and ugly, I can't even repeat it.
No, you are right. There is no excuse.
Just lucky I didn't punch his fucking lights out.
You're watching When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode here on Bully Whispers, and we are here today to discuss what would have happened if Noah had actually punched Tony. Obviously, this won't be the usual analysis episode, and will be more of a discussion one, so please leave your comments on what you think would have happened down in the comments section. Now, even though this will be more of a discussion episode, we do have to acknowledge that there would be more to a fight between Tony and Noah than just the fight in and of itself in terms of fallout, etc. So in this episode, we will discuss not only what might have happened in the moment during the fight, but also the impact it may have had on Tony's relationship with Meadow, as well as any potential long-term ramifications between Tony and Noah, should Noah somehow survive the beatdown. Beginning at the moment of confrontation, I feel the need to play devil's advocate a bit in just justifying the very idea that he would even throw a punch, because personally, I think he never would have, and was just saying that to sound tough in front of Meadow. Now, to his credit, Noah does stand up to Tony verbally.
Fuck you!
But this may be largely due to the fact that he didn't fully realize who he was talking to, which is also another possible reason he may have thrown a punch. Though Meadow claims Noah put two and two together and figured out what Tony did, it's highly unlikely that he figured out he was the Don of New Jersey. More than likely, unless he did some research, which he definitely would have done after the fight, he probably just figured that Tony is involved in the underworld. So, ignorant of the true implications, the naive Noah throws a punch. As several people commented in a previous video, there's a good chance Noah may have broken his own hand even trying to punch Tony, but assuming he doesn't, we come to our first discussion point. Would Tony physically fight him in that moment?
What ensued was one of the most spectacular ass whoopings ever witnessed in the Atlantic Northeast.
So the question then becomes, if Tony was beating up Noah, would Meadow have jumped in? Now obviously I don't mean would she come in swinging and trying to do damage, rather would she actively try and break it up, or just stand there screaming stop it? As much as Meadow likes to think of herself as more of a doer of the right thing kind of a person, I think she's actually more of a nag you from atop her high horse kind of a person, so I think she would have just stood there while Noah got beaten down. Of course, there is the small chance that Noah actually beats up Tony, in which case he clearly just grabs the Rocco DiMeo jacket and rides away looking like Rommel.
Wu-Tang!
But more than likely, Meadow just watched Noah get his ass whooped. So, what impact would that have on Tony and Meadow's relationship? The immediate effect would be that Meadow is infuriated with Tony, and Noah probably gets some sweet, sweet lovin' that night, but long term, I think it might play out differently. Meadow showed fairly consistently through the show that no matter what Tony did, or how much of a stink she put up, at the end of the day, she's always Daddy's little girl, and eventually she would have ended up back on Tony's side. For a reference point, even though it is far from a perfect parallel, I will use the Jackie Jr. situation. Now, obviously, Jackie was her ex at that point, while Noah was her current, and more significantly, Jackie was killed while Noah was only beaten down, because there is no way Tony would have killed him in the house with Meadow there, although we will discuss the possibility of Noah being killed at a later date towards the end of the episode. Anyways, even though Jackie was killed, she still ended up back on Tony's side, which is significant because I think that despite her public denial...
First of all, he was killed by drug dealers. African Americans, if that makes you feel any better.
She absolutely knew Tony played some role in it, but she had plausible deniability, so to speak, which is not something she would have had with Noah's beatdown. She would have known Noah threw the first punch, and even if he had a good reason for doing so, eventually, as the passion of the moment faded, Meadow would have viewed Tony's actions as self-defense, and probably would have ended up using it against Noah during future arguments. So at the end of the day, while the short-term riff in their relationship may have been huge, I think Meadow would always be Daddy's little girl in the long run. Speaking of the long run, this brings us to the potential long-term ramifications for Noah, as well as any actions he might take, and what better place is there to start than would Tony have killed Noah eventually?
We buried him on a hill, overlooking a little river, with pine cones all around.
Personally, I think this is the most realistic of these hypothetical questions, so let me know what you think, but I can actually see this one going either way. It's hard for me to picture Tony Soprano letting something like that go, But the combination of legal danger it may pose, combined with the fact that he probably would have already given him a beatdown, and that by that point he was already out of Meadow's life, leaves a little bit of a possibility in my mind that Tony might have let it go. Lastly, we get to what Noah, or more accurately Noah's dad, may have done in response. I know my dad would have said, "Kid, you managed to hook up with the Don of New Jersey's daughter, punched him in his face in his own house, and managed to walk away with nothing but an ass whooping. You're lucky as shit, leave well enough alone." However, Noah's father was the type to file a restraining order against a college girl, so would he have filed one against Tony? Well, since Noah would have hit Tony first, in Tony's house, it seems to me that if anyone was in a position to seek a restraining order, it would be him, but it wouldn't surprise me if Noah's father tried some other type of lawsuit. Even if he did, he would run into the same issues he did with the restraining order, and besides that, Tony knows how to handle lawyers non-violently. Well, thanks for watching this episode here on Bully Whispers. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next score.